what's up guys? We're over here at Nutrisport, David Calderon, Ben Martin, talking a little bit about something that most people have heard about, creatine. What does it do? What are the benefits? We're going to kind of demystify a little bit for some people that might not necessarily know as much about it as they should. What would you say the main function of creatine is, Benny?
It replaces a phosphate to ADP, which then becomes ATP, which is essential for muscular contraction. So it gives you better endurance and a little bit better strength.
Yep. Better energy, better endurance. I always kind of use that example. If we're, I don't know, not taking creatine, we're bench pressing, maybe we bench 200 pounds 10 times normally. We're not using creatine. If we supplement with a little bit of creatine, now we can maybe do 215, 12 to 13 times, because like Ben said, it's going to give you better energy, better endurance. It's a backup fuel source. It's like a secondary gas tank. And yeah, you're right on target. Ben's absolutely correct. You have this chemical energy within the muscle, ATP, and we only have a certain amount of ATP. When ATP runs out, there's something called creatine that comes in and replenishes ATP, allowing us to work harder, allowing us to work longer, and we can get a better quality workout in. So if we supplement with a little bit of creatine, what are we doing? Improving upon
Performance.
Exactly, because we have more backup energy within that muscle cell. How do we take it? I mean, do you think loading is important, for instance?
I think loading is a huge industry myth. I don't believe it's necessary.
Yeah, I agree too. How much creatine? I get that question all the time. And when? Typically on a workout day, I would go ahead and take it twice. 1 teaspoon, which is 5 grams of creatine, probably about 30 to 45 minutes before you train, and then 1 teaspoon immediately after the workout. Can people put it in their protein shakes?
Absolutely. You're not even going to notice that it's there.
Exactly. And that's what I always say. Make a cocktail, essentially after the workout. In your protein shake, put your tissue repairing glutamine, put the creatine in there as well, because it's going to be absorbed beautifully, and like Ben said, you're not going to taste any of it either. And that's the point. We only want to take creatine a couple times, and that's when we train, in my opinion. I don't think we even need it on days that we're not weight training. And that's another question people will ask me. Dave, I do cardio 2 or 3 days a week. Should I take creatine before my cardio? What do you think, Dave?
I would say absolutely. Personally.
Yeah.
You don't like it?
No, I mean, it depends on the person. I think for normal types of cardio, just kind of lower intensity cardio, longer duration cardio, we don't necessarily need creatine, but Ben makes a good point.
With high intensity cardio.
Yeah, absolutely. With higher intensity cardio, where we're starting to draw on that creatine backup energy store, that could, cause us to fail more quickly and lessen productivity and intensity within that workout. Creatine would be intelligent to go ahead and take.
As an example, your morning 1-hour jog, not necessary. If you're running a track meet, absolutely.
Yeah, before sprints, which is something that I would definitely recommend doing more of, sprinting. It's more of an anaerobic type of a conditioning, and you're definitely going to be drawing on that creatine backup energy store to fuel that sprint, or that series of sprints. So like Ben said, take your creatine before that type of activity. How much? 5 grams, that's it. No loading necessary. He's right, it's an industry myth. I think that's old science, and I think it's just a way to kind of get people to utilize a little bit more creatine, go through whatever bottle of creatine they're using more quickly. We only need creatine about an hour before, intensive training, and immediately after, and that is it. So,
and I think the loading also has contributed to the misinformation that creatine always causes bloating. If you're loading up on it, of course, you're going to get more conversion into creatinine, which is a waste product, which causes a little bit of GI discomfort. If we eliminate the loading and we eliminate it on days that we do not train, we're not going to experience that discomfort.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. If you take too much creatine, Ben's right, you start producing as a waste product creatinine, which is water retaining, period. And with a lesser dosage, you're going to prevent that creatinine production and, well, take away the bloat and improve endurance, improve energy, improve strength, improve performance during your workout. And I always tell people too, there's two types of water retention. There's water retention that's bad water retention, and that's subcutaneous or underneath the skin water retention. And then there is intra or within the cell water retention. And that's a good type of water retention. And that's what creatine helps to do. It's actually hydrophilic, meaning it likes water, it attracts water. So when creatine gets into the muscle cell, so it can help with energy and help with endurance, it's going to pull a little bit of water in with it, volumizing that muscle cell, creating a feeling of fullness. And that's the thing too, guys, whenever you have a volumized muscle cell, now that muscle cell is primed because it's anabolic. And it's anabolic, meaning it can do what? Stimulate production or the synthesis of new protein, new lean tissue.
Building muscle.
Exactly.
Question I have for you that most people typically aren't aware of is that there's different types of creatine. I'm partial to monohydrate. It's the cheapest.
Yep.
It is 99% absorption. It's effective. How do you feel about pH stabilized creatine?
I must admit, I don't like all the fancy creatines. Crealkaline is the pH stable type of creatine. Creatine ethyl ester, creatine malates, all of those, they're just expensive types of creatines that don't necessarily improve that ATP production. And I think, yeah, the water, or the kind of the, you know, they're telling you you're not going to be holding as much water. I think you can avert, like Ben said, holding water by just lessening your dose of good old creatine monohydrate.
Exactly, and you're going to be spending a third less.
And it's probably going to be lasting you 3 times as long as well.
Yeah.
So, easy choice. Go with, and we kind of just put a couple creatines up here that we like, that we recommend. This is a straight micronized creatine monohydrate. This is as well. Micronized, what does that mean? Just a smaller creatine particle. Why is that beneficial?
Solubility.
Absolutely. Goes into solution better, and that's key. You don't want your creatine at the bottom of your glass. You want it within solution so that you can drink it and absorb it and get a better workout in. So I think that pretty much covers creatine. It's going to help with energy. It's going to help with endurance. It's going to help with strength. And like Ben said, if you take a lesser dosage, and that's 5 grams before and 5 grams after the workout, you're not going to be retaining water because you're not getting any of that waste product built up, the creatinine. And you're actually going to be sucking more water into that muscle cell, giving you that nice full volumized look, and you're going to be primed to grow. And that's the goal. Last question I would probably have for you, dude. Women. Can a woman utilize creatine?
Does a woman eat the same chicken breast that I do?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All creatine is an amino acid, and protein is made up of different amino acids. This is non-hormonal.
Exactly. Not a stimulant
Not a
either.
stimulant.
I mean, some women might not want to have, you know, that improved strength or improved energy, then she wouldn't need creatine. But if you want to get stronger, if you want to have a little bit better endurance during your workout, creatine is definitely something to consider. So, a resounding yes, it's absolutely fine for a female, not gender specific at all. Dosage, I would say, you know, let's lighten it up a little bit, maybe 3 grams instead of 5 grams. You know, whenever, you know, usually 5 grams of creatine is 1 teaspoon. So, probably, you know, a little bit less than a teaspoon before and after the workout for a female. But, yeah, beneficial